17 members and associates of the Hells Angels are facing criminal charges in a violent attack.
Federal agents allege the outlaws sold drugs, traded firearms, and engaged in insurance fraud and even tampered with government witnesses.
We have learned there is cell phone video as well as surveillance video of evidence in this attack.
The U.S. Attorney characterized today's raids as historic, the largest federal bust on organized criminal gang activity.
Retaliation is common for crimes involving biker gangs. However, it could happen anywhere because of how interconnected gangs have become nationwide.
The 3-year investigation resulted in 42 federal indictments on a variety of charges, including racketeering, money laundering, drugs, gambling, insurance fraud, and extortion.
There's a bunch of bikers up here, and they're shooting guns and stuff. I need the police now.
But on foot going towards 2nd Street. Okay, receive.
Then you see a pack of Hells Angels going by, people are going to want to look. Next thing you know, cars. Because they're just staring at us and not paying attention to stop traffic.
If you wanted to break the law on an everyday norm, you should have joined the street gang. That's what they're known for. That's what they do. You're not allowed to steal cars on my block. We steal those cars.
I mean, it was so bad by us in Vegas. I was in the pool swimming, and the guys came back. Hey, Pee-wee, the cops are here. They want to talk to you. I said, well, go talk to them. Find out what they want. And they came back. They go, they want to talk to you.
Typically, if you leave the club, if you haven't been in for 10 years, you're automatically out back.
Got put out in 2006. Back in 2007, wound up going into Cannon. 2011. Came out of there. I had 4.5 years to walk off with zero support from that club.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today we got a lot to talk about. It's always something. Just keeps coming over and over again. Lindsay, how are you? Thank you for joining me. I appreciate everything you do for this show. She's one of the moderators. She's like the main moderator, so shout out to you. Mark, how are you? Nancy's doing great. She's getting big. Jimmy, how are you? What's going on? Rob, what's good? Jaman, thank you for joining me this morning or this afternoon. We got a lot to talk about. There's so much going on. We're going to touch on a bunch of different things. Path Killer, how are you? Thank you for getting a membership. I appreciate that. Make sure you guys check out the membership. There's a lot of content over there. And check out Patreon. I upload videos almost every day. Exclusive stuff that I cannot put on YouTube. Joe Blunts, what's going on? How are you, man? Hope everything's well. Shout out to Stevie Bullets. I'm rocking some Stevie Bullets merch. So today we're going to start with, there was a huge plane crash. If you guys aren't aware, Air India, and they were on their way to London. 240 people on board, all lost their life. There was not one single survivor. And that's one of the reasons I don't fly, and I'm not gonna fly ever. So I have flown in the past. I've been to California, I went to LA. We'll never go back to LA because, I mean, look at it. But shout out to all the people out there in LA. Shout out to Ori. So Air India, there's a videotape of the crash that shows the plane with its nose pointed upwards, sinking towards the ground before crashing and generating a huge fireball. There's an internal investigation underway. Or an international investigation, my bad. Hey, and I want to shout out to the person that commented, great reading skills. You got a 10th grade reading level. You're ding, ding, ding. You win the prize. I do have a 10th grade reading level, and I appreciate that. You must be a psychic. And I didn't block you. I'm going to let you keep watching and keep commenting because I really appreciate that comment. I do. So experts are puzzled on why this crash happened. A crash investigator said it's a mystery on why the plane was having difficulty climbing. This happened right after takeoff. The video of the plane right before crash does not show any smoke or fire coming from the plane. Does not appear a bird strike was the issue. And even if the plane lost one engine, the second engine could carry it aloft, he added. It's possible both engines started to roll back, he said, or lose power at the same time. I mean, that's more plausible, I think. This happens on the Boeing 777 crash coming into Heathrow about 15 years ago. So this plane that crashed, they had a perfect record. Perfect. Ever since its creation and started flying people. It has never crashed, and this is the first one, so their little perfect record is gone. This is the first crash of this type of plane, but it's pretty sad. Every single person has passed away. So loud, what's going on? Biker News Canada. Make sure you guys subscribe to Biker News Canada. He has great content. We're going to talk about Canada today and the Hells Angels. There's a lot going on. We got a lot to talk about today. Matter of fact, let's get into it. Canada. There's a huge Hells Angels presence in Canada. They said there's a significant Hells Angels presence expected in Metro Vancouver, police warn. Hundreds of outlaw motorcyclists are expected to gather in the Metro Vancouver this weekend, prompting a warning from police. The group of Hells Angels is set to ride in a procession from Colham to a banquet hall in Surrey on Thursday beginning at 11:30 a.m. According to authorities, drivers are being warned to expect delays along the route, as well as increased police presence. Surrey Police Services, as well as police from the neighboring jurisdiction, will be monitoring every large Hells Angels motorcycle procession that is expected to draw over 700 motorcyclists. A statement from the department said, adding that a significant presence of bikers is expected to last through Sunday. SPS will have additional officers working throughout the weekend, with special attention paid to restaurants and bars throughout Surrey to prevent any gang-related incidents. And that's what they had to say. So there's something is going on up there in Canada. It's a national run, possibly. Or it could be like a memorial for someone that passed away. Could be that. Who knows? It's one or the other. So in other news, 7 police officers have been charged. What, do you ask? What were they charged with? 7 police officers are arrested in connection with a deadly crash during a pursuit. Now, why would 7 police officers be charged with a crash during a pursuit? Why? Because after the crash happened, these police officers turned their cars around and left. So a big crash happens, and they turn around and leave. Like nothing happened. This happened in West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach officers allegedly left 2 people trapped in their vehicle without rendering aid, reporting the crash or initiating a foot pursuit of a fleeing suspect. West Palm Beach, Florida. 7 West Palm Beach police officers are facing criminal charges after a high-speed chase in Baton Beach last year that killed a mother and her daughter. The state's attorney announced on Thursday. The officers were arrested Wednesday night and had their first appearances in court Thursday morning. Three of them, Austin Denovich, Pierre Ettini, Christopher Recady, each face 2 counts of leaving the scene of a crash involving death, first-degree felony, as well as 1 count of official misconduct, a third-degree felony. Their bonds were set at $125,000. They are ordered to have no contact with the victim or their families, or each other. The other 4 officers, Michael Borgen, William Lazia, Brendan Steffelt, Darren Thomas, each faced 1 count of official misconduct. Their bonds were set at $5,000. On the night of July 30th, Naomi Copeland was speeding away from police officers on North Congress Avenue when he crashed into a Toyota that was trying to make a left turn, according to police. Copeland had minor injuries and was arrested. The mother and daughter of the Corolla, Marcia Pochette, 57, and Janice Woods, 27, were killed. Woods was pregnant and had just announced it to her family. That is a sad situation. The 7 officers pursuing Copeland left the scene of the crash without checking on the occupants of the Toyota, writing a police report notifying emergency services for talking to Baton Beach police. One of the officers drove directly around the site of the crash on his way back to West Palm Beach, according to the probable cause affidavit. The police officer's actions were disturbing, betrayal of public trust, attorney said. Law enforcement officers have a duty to the public they sworn to uphold. No one is above the law, and the office will pursue justice wherever the fact of the law leads. When Baton Beach police arrived that night, the woman was still trapped in the Toyota, according to the probable cause affidavit from the state's attorney's office. Everyone else was gone. Copeland had fled the scene when Baton Beach police officers caught up to him about 10 minutes later and arrested him. They said that they fled out of fear because he was being pursued by West Palm Beach officers. No WPD officers contacted the BB police, and no West Palm Beach officers remained at the scene of the crash where 2 people died. It wasn't until almost 3 hours after the crash that the ranking officer on duty heard about it when Baton Beach captain called him, according to the affidavit. No officers were told a supervisor of their involvement. 2 of them were bike officers, and the others were part of the police department's ghost or gang habitual offender suppressing unit. The night of the chase, the 5 ghost officers had been arresting a robbery suspect, according to the affidavit. They told another officer, that Officer Marto, to look out for a gray Kia, the one Copeland had been driving, because they wanted to interview the driver about something unrelated to a robbery. The officer spotted Copeland and activated emergency lights behind him. Copeland fled, and the officer did not chase him because it would violate policy to continue it for nothing more than a traffic offense or a routine interview. He said in a sworn statement, he announced that what had happened over the radio that night, but despite radio communication, multiple officers witnessed other West Palm Beach police cars following the Kia, according to the affidavit. A marked Ford SUV driven by Denovich was following him, as well as 2 unmarked cars, a Dodge SUV and a Dodge pickup truck. Steffelt was a passenger in Denovich's car. Itanin drove the Dodge SUV, and Yoza in tow. another officer in a Dodge pickup truck, and Thomas Borgen. None of the officers notified dispatch about the pursuit, a clear violation of the department's policy. The affidavit states, nor did they tell Florida Highway Patrol or Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office or Baton Beach Police when they entered their jurisdiction. Investigators say that the state's attorney's office used data from the officer's cell phone and cars to track their movements. The place near Copeland throughout the pursuit, right near the scene of the crash. At one point, the Ford reached speeds of 119 miles an hour, according to data reviewed from the car. After the crash, Copeland fled on foot into a neighborhood. Yet, despite intensive pursuit leading up to the moment, none of the West Palm Beach officers actually tried to chase or capture him, according to the affidavit. Instead, surveillance footage showed them turning around and driving home. The car driven by Rakid went directly around the wreckage of Copeland's Kia. The crash, Toyota debris, which blocked the road. All 7 officers returned back to West Palm Beach as if the crash never happened. None of them had their body cameras activated, a violation of department policy. When they returned to West Palm Beach, none of the officers wrote a report. The officers left from the scene of the vehicle crash in which they were involved, failing to attempt to render aid or notify emergency personnel. 2 wrecked vehicles and considerable amount of crash debris were just a few feet away. 10 minutes after the crash, 2 of the officers conducted a traffic stop on a driver on Interstate 95. They logged that stop and turned on their body cameras. West Palm Beach ordered police union defended the officers in a statement Wednesday night while recognizing the tragedy, saying, "We recognize the profound pain that this tragedy has caused, joining the community in mourning and devastating loss. We also stand in support of our members who have been arrested in connection with this incident. These officers are entitled to a full protection of due process." Fuck out of here. They're on camera. They're on camera turning around after the crash. Straight trash. That's what they are. I apologize for the blurry pictures, but this is what I got. That's insane. These are cops that are meant to protect people. And they're involved in a chase. The guy crashes into a woman and her kid, and they just turn around and go home. Fuck all that. Nah. No. These officers are entitled to due process. We respectfully ask the public to allow the legal system to do their work fairly without presumption. This is a developing story, they said. Well, fuck you and your officers. How about that? How about that due process? The scumbags. People are trash, man, especially people like that. Super Big Exotic, what's going on? Thank you for joining me today. Appreciate you. Kev, how are you? Shout out to Kev. Los. Miklo, what's going on, Miklo? How are you? So, we got some more content for you. Calvin, what's good? How are you? We got Miklo in the house. So, in other news, we got a lot to talk about. So, Maine, the Hells Angels up in Maine. We're going to talk about that. There was a dispute over the Hells Angels giving their property as a gift to try to get their property back. It says Maine town rejects giving property of nearly $1 million to the Hells Angels. The people of Buckfield won't be welcoming the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club anytime soon. During the annual town meeting Tuesday, voters overwhelmingly decided against handing over the nearly 14-acre and close to $1 million to the Outlaws. It was an offer that the town couldn't refuse. Lifelong Buckfield resident James Jordon died on March 16, 2024, and in his death, he offered the town his nearly 14-acre property on DuPont Square, along with $850,000 in additional funds for scholarships. But the gift came with a catch. If voters chose to turn down the gift, the land and the money would go to the nearest Hells Angels chapter. On Tuesday, voters fixed 6 questions the meeting warranted related to Jordon's offer of the land and money. Article 30 asked voters whether the town should accept the 2-acre parcel of Jordon's DuPont property for the town's rescue unit to do training. Residents voted to accept the offer and were 6 blank ballots. Article 31 asked voters whether the town should accept the remaining acreage at Jordon's DuPont Street property to provide recreational area. Residents voted 277 to 35 to accept the offer. There were 5 blank ballots. Jordon's estate provided $850,000 to maintain the property. Article 32 asked voters whether the town should accept $50,000 from Jordon's estate to establish Fred and May Cooper Memorial Scholarship Fund for students whose families are residents of Buckfield and are in the 3rd year of college or university. Voters voted 266 to 23 to accept the offer. There were 28 blank ballots. Article 33 asked voters whether the town should accept $50,000 from Jordon's estate to establish Sarah Jordan Memorial Scholarship Fund for students whose families are residents of Buckfield who are in the 3rd year of college university. Residents voted 264 to 23 to accept the offer, and there were 30 blank ballots. Article 34, the same thing, to accept $100,000 from the estate to establish Carl Jordan Memorial Scholarship Fund for students and families of residents for Buckfield third trimester college. 266 to 21 to accept the offer. They were asked to accept the $20,000 of the estate fund for an annual trip to Portland Heights Lights in Cape Elizabeth for older adults living in Buckfield, and they accepted that offer. Voters rejected the scholarship and trip money. It would have been added to the sum given to the Hells Angels. What might puzzle some of Jordon's apparent lack of connections to the notorious motorcycle gang, Jordon was born in August 25th, 1943. He graduated Buckfield High School and went on to work as a traveling salesman, a driver of antique cars between Maine and Texas, and the manager of International Paper, according to his obituary. His parents, Carl and I can't even say that name, Bull Jordon, gave him Depot Street property in July of 1983. A friend told the newspaper earlier this year that the whole thing was probably a joke, a way to make make sure Buckfield accepted Jordon's gift. It wasn't immediately clear what Hells Angel chapter was closest with Buckfield. Carlton Spencer, who died in 2006, formed the club's first main chapter in Canaan. Before forming that chapter, Spencer was a member of the Pagans Motorcycle Club in Turner. In 2001, the Department of Justice described the club as an outlaw motorcycle gang, which allegedly allies with the subservient to the Hells Angels. It was implicated in drug trafficking and other crimes. And there was a shooting near the Clubhouse in 2010. Police searched the Clubhouse last year as part of an ongoing investigation. They do charity work and even holding community dinners to support the Lewiston Food Bank. So they accepted all the gifts so that the town wouldn't give it to the club. That's pretty fucked up. But I mean, I guess he made it so that they could accept the gifts, right? Sean, how are you? Thank you for joining me today. Damn, you got a lot of lettering and all that. CLB, what's going on? How are you? Surprise. Thanks for joining us today. Wydell, how are you? Do you say it Wydell or Wandel? Chris, what's going on? Thanks for joining us today. So, in other news, we're going to talk about the topic at hand, the dispute between the Outlaws and the Pagans. That's what this whole thing is about. So, dispute between the Pagans and the Outlaws preceded deadly clubhouse shooting, police say. Investigators in Catawba County are looking into rival motorcycle club called the Pagans after a deadly shootout at the Outlaws Motorcycle Clubhouse last weekend. Says Channel 9's David Faraday learned from law enforcement that there have been issues between the two groups. In the minutes after the shooting, dispatchers alerted police in the area that a rival motorcycle club may be involved. Use extreme caution when interacting with the vehicle, possibly conducted by the rival motorcycle club. The Pagans, the dispatcher could be heard saying on the police radio after the shooting. And she went to call them a gang, but she stopped herself and called them a club. At the Outlaws Clubhouse on Wednesday, we could see that there was some gunfire struck the metal fence around the building. Since the shooting, neighbors and businesses have been on edge. It makes us feel a little uneasy because I do have children and we do live nearby. Other than that, it's just as scary out there in the world today, one of the neighbors said. A barber at Flip's Barber Shop down the street. Police also confirmed to Channel 9 that prior to this weekend shooting, members of the Pagans was shot while riding by the Outlaws Clubhouse in November of last year. Witnesses said a member of the biker group fired into a pickup truck, causing a crash on Highway 321 near Hudson. Viewers also shared a video of a raid at the Pagans Clubhouse near Lenoir in 2023 after police say members got into a fight at a nearby restaurant. We found out that investigating any cases involving the biker groups is difficult. One of those tough challenges for us is getting cooperation. Nobody really wants to talk about it from those individuals in organizations, the Newton police chief said. In most recent shootings, Jordon Cassell was killed. Police say he was a member of the Outlaws. Investigators confirmed someone in the clubhouse did fire back from the roof. Investigators recovered shell casing. Neighbors hope the violence soon ends. It's kind of crazy. It's weird. I knew the motorcycle clubs were out there, but I didn't know that anything actually happened there. Erica Street, a neighbor, we could get 911 calls from the incident as early as Thursday, as far as nobody has been charged in connection with the shooting. So they are suspecting that this has to do with the Pagans Motorcycle Club. But I think it's still a speculation. But there has been tensions down there in North Carolina. So who really knows, right? Boy, the Outlaws versus the Pagans. Fasten your seatbelts, 100%. This is going to get ugly. I mean, they're both dominant groups. They both want to be the top dog. And I don't know. I just think they can get by without the violence, you know? There's no need for all that. It's like, where do they pick up this beef from? So here's another thing going on in Surrey, Canada. There was a violent situation with the Hells Angels up there. So this is the Surrey police search for a witness in 3 alleged assaults and a S assault. Surrey police are hoping witnesses to 3 alleged assaults, all in the same day, will contact them. Surrey Police Service is looking for additional witnesses in Thursday's June 5th incident, where one man has been arrested and had charges laid in an alleged allegation of assault and assault investigation. Approximately 10:30 p.m. on June 5th, a woman exiting a transit bus was walking west on 32nd Avenue and 132nd Street when she was allegedly approached from behind and assaulted and assaulted by an unknown man. The woman managed to get away from the stranger, and the police were called. In a release statement, while police were arriving, the same man approached another woman who was standing by a nearby bus stop and allegedly assaulted her. Police arrived a short time later and took the man into custody. During the investigation into these 2 assaults, police learned of another alleged assault that occurred earlier in the day, a short distance away. At approximately 2:30 p.m., police were called for a reported assault that had occurred in a nearby intersection of 72nd Avenue and 130th Street. A woman reported that she was approached and assaulted by a man unknown to her. Police are investigating potential links between the incidences and the incident that occurred later in the night. I'm guessing they are connected. I can't even say this dude's name. Jatinder, his name is. Jatinder. 33-year-old man has been charged with 1 count of assault and 2 other counts of assault. He is currently remanded into custody until his next court date, June 13th, police said. What's up with these weird names? Police believe that there are likely several witnesses into the both incidences and have yet to be identified. And the police are looking for people to come forward, I guess. So another man, this guy was sentenced to life in prison, I believe. And he is a member of the Hells Angels. Let me pull this one up. I think this has to do with the assault and stabbing that happened in California. I can't find the damn article. I'm looking for it. Yeah, this has to do with the Hells Angels. One of them was sentenced to 21 years to life for a racially charged attack in California. Members of the Hells Angels motorcycle gang, it says, will serve prison sentences from 21 years to life for stabbing a black man in the chest during a racially motivated attack in 2023. According to San Diego, Troy Andrew Shoulder, who the San Diego County District Attorney has labeled a longtime member and leader of the San Diego County Hells Angels chapter, was sentenced for his role in the attack on 3 black men. On June 6, 2023, a jury convicted him of attempted murder, assault, and hate crime allegations. The victims, ages 19, 20, and 21, have been chased down by members of the gang after one of them had allegedly spoken to one of the gang members' girlfriends. They chased the 3 black men. One escaped. The 2 others were severely beaten by some of the gang members who used racial slurs while telling them that they didn't belong in the neighborhood. During the trial, the district attorney said that while the 2 men were on the ground, Skolder pulled out a knife and stabbed one of them in the chest. The knife fractured the victim's sternum, pierced his lung, and severed an artery. The man almost died. The victims were just walking down the street in Ocean Beach before they were attacked. One of the witnesses observed that they were beaten within an inch of their lives. Skolder's prison sentence was doubled because he was convicted years ago after pleading guilty to robbing a former Hells Angels member who tried to leave the gang. They also said that Skolder, 44, had white supremacist tattoos and used racial slurs previously. One of those incidents led him to being convicted of misdemeanor in 2003, in which included hate crime allegations. He got into a fight with a black man who asked him to stop smoking a cigarette next to him. So there was 3 people involved with all this, and they all got sentences ranging from 21 years to life in prison. So they're not going anywhere anytime soon. So one thing that's very crazy to me and very disrespectful is this shit that's going on in LA. They are burning the American flag, and they are waving Mexican flags on American soil. Now, to me, it seems like they are domestic terrorists. And people are like, oh, the Marines have a oath to uphold. Yeah, protect the country from enemies, foreign and domestic. And you are domestic terrorists. And anyone that's participating in any of this shit should be locked up and deported. That's just my thoughts on it. I mean, you don't have to agree with it. And now people are online playing clips from a movie scene. And they're like crying. Do you hear the pain in this child's voice? It's an audio clip from a movie scene. It's not even real. And these people are crying. Oh, they're ripping them from their mother. No, they can all go together, you know? There isn't and there's no hate involved. No country in this world will let you just walk into it. So why should the U.S. let people just walk in and not vet who they are? I'm all about immigration. Just come in here the right way, and that's it. Like, what's the problem? And they're like, you're on stolen land and all this shit. Like, shut up. Just shut up. You can't go walking into any other country, so why should you be able to do it here? It makes absolutely no sense. So, if you don't love this country, you don't want to be here, you're burning the flag, then leave. It's easy. But you're waving a Mexican flag, burning the American flag, and saying you don't want to get deported? And they're deporting the criminals. So make it make sense to me. You guys are protecting people who hurt people. Like, let them do their job. You guys are so worried. It's just crazy. They should take all those protesters, round them up, and send them to Mexico. Anyone waving anything other than an American flag, I think they should be deported too. You support it so much. Do you know if you were treating the Mexican flag the way you do in the U.S., in Mexico, you would be thrown in prison? They look at it as a sign of disrespect. You know that, right? These people have no idea of what they do. It's like insane. So they need to just, and that's why they're sending the Marines there, so they can protect this country from enemies, domestic, foreign or domestic. And you people that are robbing stores and looting in the streets and damaging property, you are an enemy of the state, and they need to be held accountable. And that's it. All these people protesting, peaceful protests. There's cars burning. There's throwing rocks at people. Like, come on, give me a break. You people are not peacefully protesting. And they're charging people with Hobbs Act robbery if you get caught looting. So good luck with that one. Their motto is, you loot, we shoot. And I hope that these motorcycle clubs can get along. There were times when all of them got along. There's no reason for violence. I mean, you guys can exist in the world without violence. I'd like to see a day where they all get along and there's not all this tension going on. There's no reason for it, you know? I support every club, and I look at them as motorcycle clubs. They're not gangs. They're not street gangs. They are far from it. They're not criminal organizations. They're motorcycle clubs. And people just, I think the media flips it. And that's why I'm here, is to show you guys that these are normal people. That's why I interview people from motorcycle clubs. Almost every day I drop an interview from people that are in motorcycle clubs. And I'm here to show you that they're just people. They're not what the media portrays them to be. But I appreciate all you guys taking the time to watch this show. There's a lot on the way. Tonight, part 3 of former outlaw Bob with former Hell's Angel Pee Wee. It's a really good interview. It's 10 parts, I think. So part 3 is dropping tonight. If you want to see the whole interview, join the membership or join Patreon. You can see exclusive content on Patreon. I'm working on a motorcycle club type of documentary, and you guys are really going to like it. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. If you guys like this content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like this show, start your own fucking podcast. I appreciate all you guys. And remember, don't be a bitch or burn the American flag.
And all new at 5, a major organized crime bust. 23 people under arrest now, accused of stealing guns and cash.
Today, police revealed 4 organized crime groups are wreaking havoc.
From aggravated robbery to kidnapping, burglary, and more. Let's take a look at this. New pictures from court documents in this case. These are a few of the people who have been charged, and investigators say the money, tens of thousands of dollars, is all stolen.